Okay, so we're going to go over a few more things here, just moving forward. Um, just as a review, some of the things that JavaScript can do, it can change the content of any HTML element. It can change the values of the attributes. So I can change the content. I can actually enter text into an element, or I can change the value of that element, like the size, the color, location, display, which we just did. I can also validate the input, which we'll do here in a little bit. JavaScript, just a little background, JavaScript was invented in 1995 and it became the industry standard since 1997. So this is the most popular programming language in the world, and it is the language of websites, whether those sites are run on desktops, laptops, cell phones, or tablets. Like cascading style sheets, there are multiple ways for you to enter JavaScript into your code, or at least the JavaScript functions in your code. What we did in the last lesson was we created a script tag here and entered the functions in there. And just as a review, so here is the function. Here is the name of the function. Here is where we receive variables. Whoops. Here's where we receive variables, which we'll talk about in the next lesson. Then we have a curly Q bracket, and then this is where you have your lines of code, and these are called code blocks if you have more than one. We had more than one in the previous element, okay? And so you want to have as a best practice, I've gotten sort of mixed messages as to whether it's necessary, but you want to use as a best practice ending your line of code with the semicolon, and this is also helping you debug. But sometimes you'll see some JavaScript code where everything's on one line. Within the curly Qs, I think it's that what I want you to do is, as a best practice, is to develop putting one line of code on each line, ending with a semicolon. Okay. One thing to remember is that it doesn't matter where you put this. You can put this I can put the function after the code that calls the function, and that's no problem. Okay. The browser finds the code, and then when the trigger is activated, it calls the code and runs or calls the function and runs the code. Okay. As we said in the previous lesson, it is case sensitive. There's a difference between get element by ID and get element by ID, like this. One will work and one won't. Okay, so you do have to be very, very careful. I learn this every time I do anything. It's just very challenging, but it's important to remember. There are also, you want to start to get familiar with the vocabulary of JavaScript. There are reserved words. I've put a list of them onto your lesson. Here are some of them, that these are words that you need to be aware of, you cannot use as name of functions or name of variables, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. The other way that you can add script or JavaScript to a page is with an external JavaScript sheet. Okay, and the way we do that is we say script source equals, and I've uploaded one called my script.js, okay, and that .js stands for style sheet, or I'm sorry, for JavaScript, just like the .css stands for cascading style sheets. And then you'd say script here. Okay, so now this is on the script is in the document. Okay, I just realized that I did not actually upload that, so I've since uploaded that file. And now I click Save Work Show Web Page, and you can see that it moves over. I must have had some change in not putting a transition in, because from the previous lesson it moved a little bit more slowly. Okay, So you can do that. The other thing that I want to show you here is that, as I said, you can change the attribute of the web page, or of the element, right? We change that to blue, but you can also change the text. And when you're talking about elements like an H1 element or a paragraph element or something like that, then you're usually going to be referring to inner HTML. Which is kind of a reasonably straightforward way of describing it. So I'm going to go inner HTML. Now, just for kicks, we'll keep it as blue. So because I'm now changing it, I'm no longer changing the. Remember, the previous one was style color, and that's going to change the attribute to blue. I'm going to change the inner HTML to blue. So now, when I click Save Show Web Page and I click Change to Blue, this text will actually change to be the word blue. Okay? And this could be anything, right? Hello, and thank you for taking this class. So I just wanted to show you that you are able to not only change the attributes or the location or the size or any of those types of things, you can actually also change the text, which is pretty neat. All right, so your assignment for this lesson is going to be to add an external style sheet and to change the HTML, inner HTML on the H1 tag. All right, go to it.